Hello, superfans. Welcome to Alberta News and Views and the Alberta Report podcast on YouTube. Thanks again to all of my Substackers, all of my supporters on Substack. Your donations go a long way and they make all of this pain bearable. Trust me, it's hard. It's hard dealing with the great white Canadian blob that is taking over this country. Thank you for being there with me this whole time. It truly is unbearable. From Dr. Leslyn Lewis, we have to talk about Bill C-9. If you were looking for a good reason to pack up your shit and leave Canada, this would be it. This should be the final nail in the Canadian coffin for a lot of traditional Canadians. If you are a true north, strong and free, freedom-loving, liberty-loving Canadian, this is the reason right here, if passed, to leave this country. Dr. Leslyn Lewis says, when governments pass vague hate laws, it's not just extremists who are silenced. In the UK, people were arrested for silent prayer. In Australia, pastors investigated for sermons. In New Zealand, ordinary debate risks being labeled, quote, hate. This is what happens when governments pass vague hate laws. Canada already criminalizes genocide, hate propaganda, vandalism, and attacks on places of worship. Bill C-9 doesn't close a gap. It lowers the threshold, removes AG oversight, and vaguely redefines, quote, hatred, putting legitimate debate at risk. There is no debate anymore. Bad laws abroad have silenced citizens. Canada must not follow that path. Yes, Canada must not go down this road. Here is Leslyn Lewis.
We are crossing into a dangerous line of removing the provincial attorney general's consent and oversight and leaving charges in the hands of a minister appointed by the Prime Minister. This Liberal government has given us reason to believe that they will weaponize hate speech laws against their political opponents for political gain. Bill C-9 introduces a second significant change by adding a subjective, emotionally driven definition of hatred that lowers the threshold that was essentially set by the Supreme Court of Canada. As you know, as many of you know, this is important because hatred is not defined in our criminal code. Rather, it is the meaning is developed over decades through case law, the most notable being 2013 Supreme Court case of Saskatchewan v. Whatcott. In that case, the term hatred was defined as must be interpreted as meaning extreme manifestation of emotions described by words, detestation, and vilification, and should not include representations that merely discredit, offend, or insult. That objective standard test set by the Supreme Court protects freedom of expression while targeting real harm. This Liberal government seeks to overturn that Supreme Court definition with Bill C-9 by replacing that decision with Section 319(7), which is found in C-9. In this new section, the Liberal government wishes to redefine hatred as the emotion that involves detestation or vilification, and that is stronger than disdain or dislike. By removing the word extreme, it lowers the threshold that the Supreme Court has set and that has been put in place to protect free speech. By focusing on emotion rather than extreme manifestation, the government's new definition shifts attention to feelings rather than actual harm.
Yes. So what it does is it broadens it. It's a brush that sweeps them all. It's a net that gets everything. So already in universities in Canada, it's over 50% of students are scared to express their views, their political views, because of backlash. The Canadians are already self-censoring themselves. Now, where this leads to is fear. People are going to be so scared of getting arrested for just talking online that they won't use their phones anymore, especially with the digital identification and social credit systems. But so if there's enough people that stop using their phones, well, then you can guarantee the government will legislate you have to use your phone, because then we can't keep track of hate speech. We can't keep track of all of the harm that you are doing. What Leslyn Lewis is saying, and what many world leaders are saying, is if you go down this road, there's no turning back, because it eats itself. And it's a terrible, terrible thing. And it's hard to believe that we are at this point now where we're actually talking about free speech again. All roads lead to Western independence, but we need a constitution to enshrine free speech no matter what. That is the foundation of a democracy. And Canadians, people really have to ask themselves, why is a government doing this? Why is a government ramming through so many ridiculous laws that Canadians don't want? Ask those questions while you still can. Moving on. From Donald J. Trump, for all of you out there that don't know, Mark Carney is on his way to Washington, probably right now as I speak, to meet with Donald Trump. And he is coming from a position of great weakness. Donald Trump says, this is how it all started. Donald Trump says, wow, Canada has just announced that it is backing statehood for Palestine. That will make it very hard for us to make a trade deal with them. Oh, Canada. You can bet that Donald Trump is going to bring this up, and he's going to say things like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Look at all of your laws. Donald Trump is going to get briefed. He's going to get a file with a bunch of shit that Canada is doing right now. And he is going to put Mark Carney in his place. What Mark Carney is hoping for is tariff relief, especially on steel and aluminum. Listen to what Donald Trump said today about the meeting with Mark Carney.
There's a lot of companies from Canada are moving into the United States, you know. Everybody's moving back into the U.S., and he's probably going to be asking about tariffs. They're losing a lot of companies in Canada. They're coming into they left here. They left here 20 years ago when presidents that sat right at this desk weren't doing their job properly. They were probably good politicians, but they weren't good at business, and they allowed these companies to leave. And all they had to do is do what I'm doing right now. And, you know, I'm not saying it's the easiest thing to do, but it is. It's effective.
It's going to work out very well for the United States in the short, long term. And, man, every single day in Canada, it's more and more companies either leaving or thinking of leaving. And the jobs that are generated are jobs created by government with taxpayer dollars. In other words, debt. More and more debt and bailouts, but the government of Canada repackages it as investment. It's the strangest thing to watch. Listen to Jumpin' Jolie, Melanie Jolie today in question period. There is a very, very important part. Listen to this.
Honourable Minister of Industry.
Mr. Speaker, we've been actively engaged with all the CEOs of the D3, Stellantis, GM, and of course Ford, as well as with Honda and Toyota. And we've put in place a remission system to make sure that they would be able to continue their operation and create jobs. Now, we know that the auto sector is facing a challenge. That's why also we're engaging with Unifor and the different labor unions. And at the same time, we have now a very important fund of $5 billion to help these plants. We will be there for our auto sector.
Hear, hear. Well done.
$5 billion for the auto sector and the automotive manufacturing, the car makers themselves. So even though they're not generating money on their own, the government is more than happy to just give them billions and billions of dollars. Mark Carney right now is changing the budget. He is manipulating it a little bit here and there to try to get the best outcome. I believe he is changing it. It's the same thing he did in the UK, and they denied him it. They denied it. What he wants to do is he wants to change what we define as assets. So he wants to have infrastructure like roads considered an asset, so he can borrow against that from the bank and get more money. Canada is a country that has a very low population with a shitload of resources. So it is being exploited by many countries, many corporations, the blob. And it is being exploited at such a rate that the taxpayer now is irrelevant, can't keep up. Canadians have the highest household debt on the planet. I'm pretty sure it's still on the planet. It's astronomical. Our GDP growth is like nothing. Our productivity is an absolute free fall. We're in stagflation, recession, inflation, you name it. Like, it can't go on. The parliamentary budget officer said this is unsustainable. We are knowingly walking off of a cliff because of exploitation. It's scary. And like I said, the proud Canadians need to start thinking about an exit strategy. A lot of people ask me, well, where do you move? You move to the United States. You move to the states that are Republican cities in Republican states, like Florida. It is a different universe there. And you move to a place where you have a right to bear arms, no exception, and a right to free speech, actual free speech where a constitution protects the individual. It's astounding that Canada has been going down this road for so long and it hasn't been demanded yet. We have this stupid charter that's been violated and nothing happens. It's like I was telling you with El Salvador. Canada needs to get rid of the corruption, the blob, complete reform. It is the only way. Or we'll end up just like Venezuela. Seriously, you can see it. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.